Hey everyone, it's me, K-Wife, and we're on to part 2 of our Thanksgiving extravaganza. So we got the ham in there. I actually just took the small ham out and I put it in the crock pot because I figured I need actual more room in the oven here. So I made a little more room for myself. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take, this is kind of the cheat turkey breast. It's oven ready homestyle turkey breast. You can go right from the freezer to the oven. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this out of here. It says I should do it in the bag, but I'm always a little hesitant because of the plastic kind of thing that it comes in. So I'm probably just going to cover it with tin foil. So we're going to put it in here and put a little turkey stock in the little dish here, or big dish, I guess. And we're going to put it in the oven. After that, I'm going to try to make some apple crisp, green bean casserole, and of course, I'm going to need to make the sweet potatoes and regular potatoes. So, all right, we're going to try doing some of that. I'll be back in a second. Okay, great. So, what we did was, this came with a little gravy packet. It says you have to take about, I think it's like a half a cup of juices or water and mix it with the gravy packet. And what I did was I just put the whole turkey in here. I cut off the plastic. You can bake it in the plastic, but I don't trust like plastic in my oven. So I know that it's oven safe, but I just don't trust it. So I put a little bit of turkey stock, which I always have a lot of to make soup, in the bottom of the pan. And now we're just going to cover it with tin foil, and it says to bake it for about 3 hours. And it's supposed to bake on 375. So we're actually at 400 right now, so we can actually switch that down to 375 because we have our pie baking that should be done pretty soon. And we have our other item in there that's supposed to be on 325. So I usually just adjust the temperature kind of in between the different items that I have to bake. So we have a little bit of room left here, and I'm going to need 2 hands. So I was able to slide it in right in the side of the ham, and then we have our pie on the rack on the top there, our peach pie. So I'll be checking the time for that, and then I'm going to make a few other items. Alrighty, and the next thing we are going to make is some green bean casserole. So first thing you're going to need is green beans. Hopefully we didn't get too many. So I really like the French cut green beans. I'm just going to get a spoon and break this up a little bit. Okay, so I usually end up making either too much or too little of this, so it all depends on how you want to make it. I'm making it the basic way that's basically on the back of the French's basically crispy fried onion box. So basically all you need is Campbell's soup, cream of mushroom, that works the best. Just kind of smash it in there. And for me, there's no like special like amount of Campbell's soup that you need. So there's one, and then we're gonna need at least one more. And I always have extra just in case we need more of it. And I have extra green beans as well, so okay. All right, so we've got that going on. Now, what I usually do is I have a lot of these cheap green onions, whatever the cheapest brand is that I can find. Not green onions, crispy French onions. Throw those in there. And we're going to give it a stir, and we'll probably need more soup or green beans or French onions, but we'll see what the consistency looks like. Okay, so I used in all about 9 ounces altogether, 1.5 containers of crispy French onions. I used 44 ounces of cream of mushroom soup, and I used 16 ounces, 1 pound of French cut green beans. All I did was basically stir them all together. And now we're going to put them in a, we are going to put them in a little pan and try to find a place that we can put them in the oven. All right, so as you can see, what I did was I put 2 big cans of Campbell's soup in here, 1 pound of French cut green beans, and you want to look for the French cut because it's cut smaller, so it will actually condense and fit in to the container better. And then about 9 ounces of crispy fried onions. So you can do the generic brand, or you can do the brand name kind. So yeah, so that fit all in here. It doesn't look like much now, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover it with tinfoil, and we're gonna pop this in the oven for a half an hour, and the last 10 minutes we're gonna take the tinfoil off, might even stir it a little bit, then put more French onions on the top, and yeah, brown it for about 10 more minutes. And so on the French's box it says you're gonna bake it, let's see, it says at 350, so we're already at 375. That's pretty close. I mean, honestly, from what I've done in culinary, you know, the vegetables, yes, you know, like if I was making this as a first five-star dinner or something, I'd have to make sure they're perfect or whatever. But vegetables, generally, you have a little bit more leeway than you do with the meat. The meat always has to be cooked exactly the right amount and temperature. So let's put that in the oven. Okay, and I believe our pie is ready to come out of the oven now, so I'm going to try to get that out. All right, that was a really tight squeeze, but at least I got it in here, and I'm going to go take a look at the pie. Our peach pie was kind of cracked when we got it from the store, so this is better than, I think it's going to taste pretty good, but we're going to let this cool for a while, and either we'll reheat it right before we eat, or we'll have it cold or microwave it when we eat it. So next thing I'm going to do is try to make some mashed potatoes, possibly some sweet potato casserole, and maybe some apple crisp, possibly even some pumpkin pie. Alrighty, so we have our pie over here cooling, and we put a second pie in the oven, pumpkin pie. We've got our green bean casserole going, which will take about a half an hour. And we have, basically, I'm starting the mashed potatoes. So what you're going to do for mashed potatoes is you're going to need to start your water, get some water on the stove, enough that we'll actually be able to boil those babies. And then you're going to need to put a little bit of salt in that water. Great, my stove is already starting to kind of crackle. So yeah, that's the sound of my burners. They kind of make a bad smell sometimes. So that's why it's very difficult for me to cook a lot of things at once. So let me basically get some salt, put in that water. Alrighty, so we've got our water heating up. It's got to bring to a boil, and then we're going to peel these potatoes and cut them into like fourths, something like that, and boil them for a bit. Then we're going to drain them, mash them, and put some milk and butter in them and salt and pepper, and that's pretty much it. It's not that difficult. You can also blend them like with a... Actually, I do have a little hand blender that I use for soup. You could use that. You could use like a egg beater. You can also rice the potatoes through a ricer, which usually is done in very fancy places, which is kind of like a huge garlic press, honestly. So we are going to do that, and I'll be back.